Can y'all online? Oh, here we go. You guys can see and hear me?
Yes,
Sorry
sir.
about the delay. Awesome.
Can hear you,
Well,
Shane.
thank you all for joining us. Looks like we've got Ivan Lemus, Randy Hubbard, Terry Oliver joining us online, and Jordan is hosting us from afar. So we appreciate y'all. And without further ado, we have our friends from DART here to present today. So we're going to have them come up and give us a little introduction of themselves. So I hope you guys pay close attention so you can learn more about what's happening here in our community. And without further ado.
Thank you. My name is Robert Sullivan. I am the community relations rep for DART to Irving, the airport, lately Carrollton, downtown, uptown, and Deep Ellum. And I have that because I'm a masochist. And I'll say that thank you very much for letting me come out. I like coming to these events because they let me talk to people and because there's pie. And I'm going to let Christine introduce herself.
Good afternoon. I'm Christine DeCudra-Gonga. I'm the Deputy Public Involvement Lead for the Silverline portion that he'll discuss this evening or this afternoon. So I'm here to answer questions or help answer questions. So thank you for having us.
I'm going to be talking about DART services. I'll also be talking about our Silverline, which is our big new project with, excuse me, which is going to be a commuter line that runs from the airport out to Plano. DART has its own app, which is free to download. It works a bit like a Google Maps. You can tell it where you are and where you want to go, and it will tell you how to get there using DART services, including our trains and our buses. You can also keep track of your, buy your tickets there, and it'll tell you how much time you have. And go back here. It's worth noting our tickets and time work by time, not by distance. So you'll buy for the morning or you'll buy for the afternoon, and it will give you that time and say you've got 2 hours left, you've got 1 hour left, and in that time frame you can go just buck wild and go anywhere in the service area you want to. DART provides local. We have two types of tickets. We have local and we have regional. The regional will include the Denton line and the TRE at Fort Worth, but just local is just the DART service area, which includes Dallas and the other cities that are part of the service, which includes Irving, Carrollton, the University Park cities, and so on. Here's a basic map of the service area. And again, I mentioned that our tickets work by time. A full day pass is $6. A morning or afternoon pass is $3. People who can get special discounts include senior citizens and students and people who have financial challenges. Basic line here is they ride for half rate. Whatever the ticket price is, if they have these challenges, they can ride for half. DART has its a tap card, which is a kind of debit card. This is, you put money on it and it is only used for DART services. You can use it on the trains and you can use it on the buses. We have two types. The yellow type is the general type. The white type you see on the screen is the specific type. Now, these are the ones that are issued to people who have the financial challenges or other issues. It has their photo on it, so nobody else can use it for their special discounts. These you can put money online with these at the DART store, at the DART offices at 1401 Pacific downtown, or you can do it at select Albertsons and Tom Thumbs. Or you can go to any of the train stations and buy a paper ticket for the time, and if anybody rolls up on you and asks to see it, you can just show them the paper ticket you get there. Just a vending machine. You go up to the yellow screen you see there on the photo, select the type of ticket you want, you put money in, and it will spit a ticket out at the bottom of the machine. You can pay for tickets with cash, but that is only at the buses, and they ask you to do it with exact change. I give a lot of these presentations, and probably half the time I give these presentations, they are to school children. And when I say school children, I don't just mean high school age kids, I mean young children. A lot of what I do, honestly, is just going to elementary schools and just discussing basic safety around buses and trains and etiquette. So some of this is things that adults will already know, but we're included here because I give the basic variations of this presentation to third graders. No offense meant to anybody, no shade. That's just the way it works. So to them, it might be new to say arrive 5 minutes early to any place where you're going to try to make a connection. All the adults in the room know that's just standard fare. You look for the bus route you need, find the right stop number, and then wait for the bus with that number on it. You can use you can take bicycles on our trains and buses. The trains have a section compartment with these metal hooks on the inside. You just hang the bicycle by its front wheel on the hook. On the buses, they have the mechanism on the front of the bus with a restraining arm. You put the bike there, put the arm down, and just hop on the bus till you get where you're going. Again, this is variations of the presentation for our kids. Common courtesy, let people who are getting off the bus get off the bus, then you can board, find a seat, and if you can't find a seat, just hang onto a handrail. This is also important. Trains stop at every single stop. Buses do not stop at every single stop. If there isn't somebody there at a stop and the driver doesn't know you want to stop, he's going to keep rolling. So follow the map and follow the announcements from the mechanism on the bus. Tell you when the next stop is, know if that is your next stop. If it is, push, excuse me, push the yellow stripe button. That will let the driver know you want to stop at the next stop. All of the, we're doing quite well with keeping the trains on schedule. Every single train stop station has a schedule on it. All the trains are identified by the direction, by the last stop in that direction. So for example, on the orange line, the westmost stop is DFW and the eastmost stop is Parker Road. If you see a bus with Parker Road on it, you know it is going from the west to the east. And then you will just need to know which direction you need to go and get on the appropriate one. Also, the schedule will break down by, break down by station and showing you when the next train is going to be, and based on the direction it's going. Again, here, this is all of our lines. They're all broken down by color for ease of understanding the map, and they're all labeled by the last stop on that direction. Again, orange line, the last stop to the east is Parker Road. The last stop to the west is DFW. Again, just you'll see the signage on the train that tells you which direction it's going, so you'll be able to know what train you need. Just let everybody else get off, then you get on. And this is important. The trains, to maintain a tight schedule, they only stop at a particular stop with the doors open 15 to 20 seconds. If the doors are closed, please do not mess with the train. I will say, and I don't want to bring things down, but most of the casualties and fatalities that are associated with dark trains are because somebody tried to get on a train that was moving or tried to get a train to stop. Please, if you get there and the doors are closed, wait to the next train, because it is not worth trying to wrestle a 100-ton train that's moving. Our buses require you to have a ticket of some kind. It can be a digital ticket that you show with a phone app. It can be the GoPass card that you physically have, or it can be a paper ticket, or you can buy a ticket right there with exact change. Now, the trains are different. The trains are what we call the honor system, and this comes in from when Desart was laying out the plans for our train system. We did not want to have to put physical barriers at our stations. So there's no walls there, no fencing there, and no turnstiles to get on the trains. That gives us a more open space there. Now, the qualifier here is it is possible for people to get on the trains without a ticket. The way we deal with this is we have fair enforcement. These are the men in the uniforms with the gray top, dark pants. They will come around and they will ask to see your ticket. If you do not are on a train and do not have a ticket, they can write you up and at the very least will ask you to get off at the next stop. Deboarding the train, as I said, the train stop at every single stop that we have, and you will hear the automated announcer voice say, the next stop is such and such. If that is your stop, just pay attention. Get ready to deboard at the next stop. Just keep on going through your day. Again, a lot of this is going to be common sense for adults, but this is stuff that we lean on for young people and even for immigrant groups who come in. Just don't necessarily assume the driver or operator of a train can't see you. Assume they cannot stop on a dime. Be cautious, look both ways, be courteous. The DART app includes a see something, say something function. This is basically what it says on the label. If there is something that is concerning you, you can go into the app, you can report it, and DART's police department will respond. Or the maintenance department. If you see normally a digital sign that gives the schedule and it's broken, you can report that and DART will get on it. If you see something that is more critically concerning, then DART police will respond. This is also something I lean on for when I'm giving this presentation to school-age kids. All of our buses and all of the trains are considered safe places. If a young person, 18 or younger, is being harassed by anybody or somebody who's trying to touch them in an inappropriate way, get them to go somewhere they don't want to go or anything like that, the young person can tell the train operator or the bus driver. And the adult DART employee will provide them a safe place and contact the authorities, and the kid can stay with them until the police or some other authority arrives and can intervene. Now we're about to get into the Silver Line. Before I do that, does anybody have any questions or comments about DART services?
Wait,
Yes, sir.
the last slide you talked about there, does that apply to, women also ladies?
Do you mean it's for anyone who is younger than 18? If there is an adult who's over 18, I would still encourage them to report any difficulties they're having, anyone who is harassing them. I would encourage them to report that to the train operator and to the bus driver, and that they can also use, if it's possible, under the circumstances, report that to the police and to use the see something, say something. If they're an adult, and you did use the word woman, their situation is a little bit different. This program is mostly designed for people who are not going to have any other resources, like a 10-year-old child who maybe somebody is leaning on. But an adult, any adult who's having these problems, please tell the driver, tell the operator, and we'll do what we can to help. You're welcome, sir. All right, no other questions. I'm going to dive into the Silver Line. The Silver Line has been on the books, or was rather on the books, for many years before we finally broke ground. It is occupying what used to be the old Cotton Belt, and it runs now from Terminal B at DFW, and it's going all the way out to Parker Road in Plano. Now, there's a number of considerations that make this different from our regular light commuter rail. One of these is because it's going on an old industrial line, it's using a different width of rails and a different gauge of rails. It's also not using the overhead power assembly that our light rails do. The light rails all have an electrical assembly with wires running over the trains, and there's a mechanical arm that comes out from the top of the train down to the motor of the train, and that generates power. Because of the way the Silver Line works, we're not going to be able to do that. So the Silver Line is different in design in a whole lot of ways. We're also working carefully and slowly, and it will not open until the whole thing is open. So we won't have like a section going from, say, Shiloh Road to 12th Street. We could hypothetically have that line bit running, but we want to wait until the whole thing is open and we can get everything going back and forth. We're just going to have 10 stations. Pardon me, let's make sure I got this right. 26-mile alignment is going to be going through Addison, Carrollton, Capel, Dallas, Grapevine, Plano, and Richardson. The closest station to Irving proper is going to be the Cypress Waters station. And after that, it'll be the downtown Carrollton station. Going by from one end to the other will take about an hour. It's going to have 4 rail connections with the one with the green line, orange line, red line, and the TRE commuter rail. It's going to have 10 stations along its route. Every station, I think I'm right on this, Christine, they're all going to have free parking, all the stations?
All stations will have free parking.
Yes, good. And so if you don't want to have to deal with the exorbitant parking rates they have at the airport, you can just park at one of our stations and ride the commuter rail in and then make the connections. And I will say last March, I went to pick my sister up at the airport, and just driving through cost me $6. So yeah, it makes DFW is doing a lot to promote their our Silver Line. This is the overall Cotton Belt Regional Corridor. Most of the route is also going to be paralleled on one side or the other with a hike and bike trail. And this will be a, what it says on the label. You can, people can ride bicycles along it, walk along it. Sometimes, depending on the local property rights and geography, the trail will be on the north side. Sometimes it'll be on the south side. But this overall route will also connect with a number of other trails in the area. We are hoping, because of the way we're getting the whole thing completed, to have the line open for business late 2025, early 2026. We will have service running every 30 minutes during peak hours and every hour during off-peak service. The beginning and ending of the service day has not 100% been set. That is, we have a goal right now, but we've also had people questioning that, asking us for later service in the day. The what am I missing here? I'm sure I'm missing some stuff.
So there will be a period of time coming closer to the end of the year here where you all, if you want the hours extended, if you want more training, if you want to run more than once an hour outside of the day. Each time you can voice that. That'll be before it goes to the work times and figures for the Silver Line. So you'll be able to provide input on that. You can also still email us and Silver Line. We are looking at extending the hours to like 2 days.
Yes, and part of that was we had some students at universities that were taking night courses, and the trains would run at when they got to the university, but the trains had stopped running by the time the classes were letting out. And so some of the students were saying they don't want to be stranded. Part of this, what I'm getting to with this is nothing has entirely been set in stone. Please be a part of the process. Talk to us. We will answer any questions you have, and we'll be happy to work with you. If you have concerns about anything, please bring them up to us. And you can also discuss them with the DART board of directors. I kind of glossed by this, but all the, if you've been on any of the Denton trains, we're using the same company to produce our trains. It's just a slightly newer model, a couple of generations newer. But if you've been on those like nice, relatively quiet trains, same deal. All those trains will also have bicycle racks and luggage racks, a lot of areas to sit and relax on whichever direction you're going. And, you had a question, sir? He had a question, then I'll get to you, sir. Basically rush hour, but what are the specific numbers on that?
So it's about 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then about 2:30 to about 6.
Sir, you had a question?
Yeah, Robert, in the past, that Cotton Belt been used for freight.
Yes, sir.
Can you talk about the scheduling and the coordination of those trains with the passengers? I'm coming in your presentation.
No, that's why we're here to answer these kind of questions. Thank you.
All right, so freight is being coordinated already by DART. So we did work ahead of time. So when we weren't actually, when you didn't see us fully out on their building, there were things going on back behind the scenes. So we do control the freight already. There are about 5 freight lines that this will cross. And there is no freight in North Dallas. So it's all on the far east side of it and the far west side of the line. So the center portion will not have freight at all. As Robert said, there is no catenary system on top of this train, like the light rails that you see, because this is a heavy rail. Those are light rail. These are heavy rail. So it's a heavier train, heavier track grade. And it does run at a faster speed. So max speed of this train is about 75 miles an hour. However, with most of the way that the train is set up to go, it probably will not go much higher than 45 in most areas. So it is a max speed in North Dallas of 75 miles an hour. But with how the stops are spread out, it's highly unlikely that it will go probably above 55. We are installing, so as TexRail has, they have the LiDAR system on the portions of their train in the Grapevine area. So we are putting that on some of our areas as well. So LiDAR is a system that will essentially detect if there's something in the way that should not be in the way. So it has green zones that can turn to red zones. So for instance, a crossing, that would be gates up, it's a green zone. It's not reading anything, but when it's time for those gates to come down, it turns into a red zone. So if there's a car that gets trapped in between the gates, it'll alert not only dispatch, it will potentially alert emergency services. It will also alert the driver, the operator of the vehicle, so that they can hopefully have enough time to stop. So that is a safety mechanism that is being put on to this vehicle and with the system. There are a bunch of other safety mechanisms that are going on as well. So even though freight will run, it will still be controlled by DART. And we do have various safety measures that are also in there. So if you live in an area that also where freight currently runs and you hear the horn, all of the Silver Line is in a quiet zone. So all the cities have filled out the paperwork to become quiet zones, which means the train will not sound its horn unless there is a danger in its path or if there's maintenance going on. And that will be established after our testing period. So you'll see some of our Silver Line trains out now. We're testing them. We've received all 8 vehicles. So we have to test them every 30 days. We have to what they call exercise them.
We take them
So we take them for walks. So if you happen to be, downtown near the American Airlines, so you might see a Silver Line train come through out there. So it's possible.
Yeah.
If it runs at night, and I understand the flight zone because DART and she already did a good job in the city of Irving as the rail runs through the city, center of the city. There are many very nice neighborhood, Peekabell and Addison along that cotton belt. So are you saying the freight is going to run between 12 and 6 a.m.? How are you going to help those people quality of life not be negatively impacted by the locomotives coming through?
So there are a couple of factors that I think you're thinking about. You're thinking about the noise factor of those. So we've replaced the track. So usually with freight, you hear that clonking noise. That is because it's not a continuous weld. It buckles, and it's the tires that are making that buckling noise against the rack or against the rail. The rails are about 1,700 linear feet each. So, and then they're continuously welded. So you won't have that clonking noise that you're used to hearing. There's also, on our trains, we've also installed wheel skirts, which also makes it quieter along the way. So when it comes to the freight train schedule, what that schedule is, have a train that comes in behind your home at about midnight. That haven't had any increase in freight traffic, or decrease necessarily either. So it'll still run on its normal schedule. If it increases, they'll work that out. But there are some stations that will see freight trains actually come through an actual Silver Line station. So it won't stop, it'll just keep going through.
And I'll also add, a lot of these areas, especially the residential areas, have, I see your hand, sir. We'll be with you in just a moment. We have walls, and essentially these are going to make sure you don't see an unsightly train come through.
Yep.
They help with safety, so nobody can just wander on the lines, and they also help with sound.
In almost all cities, so Addison does not have walls, but there are very few people living right against that. And if you live in Addison, you probably already know most of those people that lived right next to the rail are probably not going to live there much longer, because they're going to rebuild. That's part of their master plan. So they're going to have new housing and apartment complexes and other things that are going in as part of their master plan, right up against where we have built. And that was Addison's choice to not have a wall. They did have the option.
Some years ago, rocked the rail of some of the initial plans of what you ended up with in the final design to make it below grade somewhat to help shield the surrounding area.
So I know what you're thinking about. We did not end up going with that plan. There was a variation of that plan that we ended up going with. It was too costly. There were too many utilities that would have to be relocated, and that was specifically in the North Dallas area. So we did not trench the train. We are not going to trench the train. There are some areas where it may look like it's underground, for instance, Coit. So Coit, we are currently building a bridge to go over the train there. So essentially the train will run where the old crossing was. And we're dropping that down about 13.5 feet. So that'll be dropped down a little bit, but it's not going to be a tunnel. Where Hillcrest is. Hillcrest train is going over, traffic is going under. So we have dug about 18 feet down to make that ditch, essentially. It's a giant ditch that cars will go under. That's also where the pump station comes in, so that when we get monsoon-like rains like we've had the last couple of weeks, you know, it doesn't get flooded under there either. Yes. Well, this project has been in the works. It's been in the plan for about 30 years. So project has been on and kicking. So I've been on the project for almost 6 years. So we've been moving. You're welcome.
Sir.
Yeah, one comment.
Yes, sir.
Freight trains have to abide by the final rules going to the city. Like if they have an ordinance and no whistle, they have to abide.
Correct.
Most of them have the bells on all the crossings and everything else for the pedestrians, but they don't have to blow a horn when the largest crossing in these major cities because of the quiet.
Correct. If they have a quiet zone in order, yes, that is correct. Yes. They've got to want it. So they aren't a partner city. They have to want it. They kind of have their own transportation system going on. So they do have, so you didn't go much over GoLink, so you might want.
Oh, yeah.
So GoLink is essentially door-to-door service. Arlington has that where you can call up and they'll come pick you up and take you where you need to go. Kind of like a taxi, kind of like Uber.
No,
That is correct. It's not. They are. I agree.
I will speak about GoLink in just a moment, but a gentleman in the suit and tie there.
It is a diesel electric vehicle. So the diesel powers the battery, which powers the train. So, did we have a picture of the train?
No,
On
not
here?
here.
No,
No.
sorry.
It's just, if you're seeing the Denton line, just go, it's the same thing. It's just like a car model, just a couple of years newer.
Yeah, so the A train is older than the Tex rail, and the Tex rail is about 2 versions away from what this train will be, or is.
GoLink, yes, I need to put that back in my presentation. We cover a large service area. We have, Carrollton, Addison, Garland, Richardson, Plano, Dallas, Cockrell Hill, Glen Heights, the Park Cities, and that's a big chunk of territory. Where I'm going with this is some of the area in this service is underserved, frankly. It doesn't have train lines, it has few bus lines. So what we have is GoLink, and this is a kind of glorified Uber service. If you are going to a zone or you are in one of these zones, the app will show you this. We will send a point-to-point service there. You schedule it like an Uber service. They will come pick you up and take you to where you want to go in that zone. They won't take you to the whole service area, but
Go ahead.
they will take you to.
They've got questions. Can you pull up your chat?
Somewhere in that zone. And then connect to train lines, bus lines. Are located. This is for people who have challenges and sometimes they cannot easily use our bus trains. We will do.
I can speak to that.
Hard times to be.
But how he might.
And so that. And then they will like a new service, the whole service. Actually, you take the first apartment.
Again, or to a family member and back again. He's in high demand, he's just not gonna chill in the parking lot. This is a service we have.
We did get 2 questions online, one of which is regarding passenger security, safety. Are the engineers on board trained to handle confrontation in our passenger screen for weapons? Will these engineers carry some of the protections, some form of protection?
All right. Part of the training does include dispute de-escalation. Our drivers and operators are unarmed. They are not trained in combat, and they are not trained in crisis resolution, but they are trained to deal with unhappy customers. I am a Texan, God bless Texas, but under Texas law, if you can carry a gun, you can physically pick up a gun, you can take it anywhere with you. And we have had people carry AKs on our buses, and legally they are entitled to do this. I am a man myself who owns guns. I am a responsible gun owner. I don't understand why anyone would need to carry a machine gun onto a city bus. So I guess the answer there is, you know, if somebody can pick up a hand cannon, they can carry it anywhere because that's the way Texas law works. We just hope they're not a fool. The bus drivers are trained with de-escalating, but they are not, you know, combat masters. This is real life, not an action flick. And
You can always report it through the app.
yes, absolutely. If you see something, say something. If somebody is on there and they got a howitzer, please report that to the police.
And in that app, you can also take a picture and video discreetly.
Yes.
So if you see it, you can take their picture. They can pull up those times that you reported into the app. They will communicate with you back and forth in the app. And their turnaround time is usually about 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Depends on where you're at in the line, but it's about 8 minutes. And let's say you say, I never see anybody, I ride this, I never see anybody, and something's always going on. Report it.
Yeah.
Because those pings go back and they look at that and they say, around 2 p.m. every day for the last 2 weeks, we've had somebody complain about this thing or something it's similar happening in this area. Let's put a force out there to see if we can mitigate this.
Yes,
so putting those pings on the map helps.
Yes, and that also works by location. If you see problems persistently at Cockrell Hill Station, we'll send more PD out there. Yes, ma'am.
Pet policy is they can ride, just clean up after them.
What she said.
So we prefer that they're, of course, you want them on a leash. If they're able to be in a crate, he's too big for a crate. But if you have a cat or a smaller animal, we prefer them in a crate. But their families too, they can ride,
Yeah,
and they travel too.
and certainly with service animals, we're not gonna, say no to a service animal.
Correct.
And, yeah, we just keep track of it. You're responsible for it and clean up after it. That's it.
There are no pet parks being installed with the Silver Line. I did have that as a question a couple meetings ago. Are you installing any pet parks near any of your stops? No, we aren't. But there are parks and
Other dogs are on leash.
yes,
Yes.
so we
Sir,
also have one more.
My question was, how many actual licenses do you have?
oh, that's a good question. I don't know how many, officers we have on the force right now. I'll give you my card and we can contact later and I'll get back to you that, because I honestly don't know the numbers right now.
The second question is, how are the officers actually stationed, employed, on a daily basis?
We follow, they will follow, see something, say something, so they are mobile. So if there is an incident at a station, the available, some officers will be assigned to that station, or that train, or that, bus.
And they do work with the different city departments as
Yeah.
well. We have contact with the different cities. So let's say something big is going on a train and Dark Police can't get to it, they'll call that city's district and say, we need police dispatch to here.
But in general, what sounds like to me is your force
Yes, sir.
is housed in one centralized.
No.
area.
No,
We have headquarters, but as we were just saying about, let us know about situations and incidences. If we have like the hypothetical where we saw something going on persistently at Cockrell Hill, then we will have 2 or 3 officers assigned to Cockrell Hill for a few days just to watch the situation.
real life, this happened in Carrollton at the Green Station, downtown Carrollton Station. High homeless popularity. They like to sleep in the elevators. They like to defecate in the elevators. They like to walk the rail lines. There are freight train lines that are also in that area. They like to walk and camp out in that area. So what we have done is we have stationed Dark Police that are there, and also City of Carrollton dispatches their police there on a rotating basis as well. So we, at our Carrollton meetings, we say to our RAPOs, residentially adjacent property owners, is RAPOs, but our stakeholders, we say to them, if you see somebody walking in the guideway, which is behind your home, please let us know. Text me, give me a call, send us an email, any of that.
See something,
And-
say something.
Or use to see something, say something at, and we will put a notice out there. We'll get more manpower out there. It's, you all are the eyes on the ground. So that's why we lean on you all and hope that you lean back on us to remedy some of those situations.
One of the online questions is about the drivers and operators knowing medical first aid and CPR. It's not required. If one of them happens to know CPR and medical first aid, hey, that's a bonus. It's not something we are requiring of our operators and drivers. I will say on a related note to what Christine was just saying is that, one of the most persistent questions I get when I do any kind of public engagement is about the presence of the unhoused on dark buses and trains and at stations. This is a problem mostly in severe weather situations where they will start to use our buses and trains as shelters. So we see this most often in January when the weather is the coldest and in August when the weather is the hottest. We are working, DART, that is, and not an imperial we, but DART is working with the city of Dallas and some other NGOs to get resources.
What's
to get
NGOs?
non-governmental organizations. I shouldn't use acronyms. Non-governmental groups and charity groups to find resources and shelters and options for people to have their own shelters so they won't be using our trains and buses for shelters in really bad weather. We will also provide, this is connected to providing psychological counseling for some people who may be experiencing distresses. Any other questions? Now I'm going to finish my thought.
As you should. Thank you so much.
There's one more question. Will there be AED and first aid kits on the train?
Oh, that's a good question. We have those defibrillators you see in public places. We have those already on the trains. We have a department that is trying to find a funding to get a kind of tactical first aid kit that we can put on all of our trains and all of our buses and all of our facilities. Now, the problem there is this immediately runs into a huge amount of money, because we have a lot of trains, we have a lot of individual buses, and we'll need to keep the kits persistent and up to date so they don't age. This is something, the short answer is we are pursuing that. We have what is currently required by federal law, and we are pursuing grants and funding to go above and beyond.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Very good. Thank you, Robert and Christine. Enjoyed hearing about DART. You can tell when the audience has so many questions that they are interested and they care about your presentation. Thank you so much. You know, we have a great system here in our area, and remember that parking in Dallas and getting a bus and or train passes much more economically friendly. Plus, if you're going to something like a tequila festival, you've got a good, safe way home. So that's, yeah. Not that I'm speaking from experience. That's for the confession booth later. Ivan's laughing at me online. I don't know. All right, friends, we are at time, but I'm going to give us just a few minutes for some quick announcements. Lazaro is thankful for the break. He's in Florida. He'll be back with us next week, and that's going to be the wrap up for his term. So please make an effort to be here because we'll be thanking the board and everybody for their work this year. Yes, Bill.
Board meeting after this.
After next week's meeting, there will be a board meeting, so that's also important. Heather?
Wednesday, the foundation is doing.
Woo! What day is that? Next Wednesday, the June 19th.
5:30. And the fundraiser will be going towards arts and medicine.
Oh,
So
cool.
that will help benefit the music therapists we have on site who can pay for patients in their room, or the interns that get to come and visit patients. So
That's awesome.
I have flyers, I'm happy to hand out.
Excellent.
There's no charge for that, right?
No charge, and people need to get one.
Yes.
So.
Yes, there are ways to get a second if you really want one. Laura.
Part of the way through this professional training, some of the work today that he's doing really well. Our next graduation is August 9th, and hopefully tonight will be in that.
Cool. Yay, thank you, Laura, and thank you, K9 Companions. We're excited about having a dog come to our VBS tomorrow. So thank you. And Rick, you had an announcement.
Well, just to bring everybody up to date, to my knowledge, we have placed 192 flags since that's a total for this Flag Day presentation, which is up from 1,386 for Memorial Day. So, Bill, we're making progress on your goal, but we still need to get some flags out there. We have 3 more placements, as you know, and we need everyone to renew your Millennium Fountain flag.
All right, very good. There's your reminder.
Thank you.
Yes, we appreciate it, everyone. Now, will you please stand? Heather, would you lead us in our 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do?
First.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thanks, y'all. Have a blessed one. Thank you, friends.